Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Radio Turku. Today we have a new interview with a candidate from Vaasa to discuss once more about the municipal elections taking place this April in Finland, 2025. We remind you that if you have received the paper at home or if you have received email from the Finnish government, you can find all info about how to vote, where you can vote. There is also a compass test available on the website of Yle, so the newspaper Yle, YLE .fi, where you can answer some political questions and find information about which party or which candidate would fit you the best. So we really recommend you to answer this little quiz. It will be available in the description of that video. But today we are welcoming Lukumanu Iddrisu, who is a candidate from the SDP in Vaasa. And today we will ask him a bit of questions about um, his program, his party, and maybe a bit more about how he started his political career in Finland. So, welcome, Lukman. Maybe you could maybe you could introduce yourself and your background.
All right, so my name is Lukumanu Iddrisu. I'm originally from Ghana. I'm also a Finnish citizen. I came here 10 years ago as a student and I studied international business in the beginning at Vaasa University of Applied Sciences. And ever since I was also, after I graduated or during the studies, I was doing menial jobs and so on, like cleaning, dishwashing, and so on. And later on, I learned the Finnish language, and through that, I got opportunity to get my first like professional job. And then afterwards, I started my master's at the University of Vaasa, where I studied strategic business development. And I started, um, you know, climbing the ladder in my career, where I have worked at Vartila in project purchasing and also in HR. And currently work here at the University of Vaasa, where I am the project manager for the Vaasa Spouse program. Aside that, I also teach part-time sales management course at Vaasa University of Applied Sciences. So this is a little bit about me.
Okay, could you explain what the spouse program is? Because I'm not sure it's available in every city in Finland.
Yeah, so basically, the Vaasa Spouse program is an initiative or a program that supports the uh, spouses of international students and international workers in the Vaasa region. So we serve as a support mechanism in helping them to integrate professionally and socially. So we do that by creating events that kind of give them that kind of leverage to either socialize with the locals, learn about the local culture, and so on. And we also have, or we've had like a career intensive initiative called Career Club, where we take them through an 8 week intensive uh, career uh, career related sessions where they understand the Finnish labor markets, recruitment process in Finland, networking appropriately, or and also having like company hackathons or maybe projects whilst they where they do in the company. So this creates that kind of atmosphere for them to learn about the ways they can actually increase or enhance their employability in the Vaasa region. And we have done that quite well with the partnering companies here in Vaasa.
That's super nice to hear that this kind of immersive programs exist and are being developed. And I feel this is one of the best way to understand the Finnish market, meet Finns, especially for the spouse who might be a bit isolated since they don't have a place where to go every day. So really nice to hear these programs are getting developed. And I think it's also important to highlight this, that as a candidate you know yourself what it is to go through this kind of stages of career applications, and also what it is for your spouse, because from what I understood you came with your spouse in Finland.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I came and then she joined me later. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you directly know what it is like to struggle with these kind of challenges. I would like I would like to talk a bit about your media coverage, because you have been a very popular guest to a lot of newspapers, podcasts in Finland. And I feel that there is one recurrent theme that comes throughout your interviews, and that is often this sort of American dream applied to Finland. That is, oh, he started as a cleaner in Wärtsilä, and then he worked as a HR manager, etc. And I think you said something really interesting in one of your interview. So that everything can happen when you put things together in the right way. And you said that you worked a lot to achieve uh, like where you are at the moment. And I think one sentence struck me when you said, I struggled to get where I am today, and I don't want others to struggle like I did. And this is a theme that we are considering often at Radio Turku, that why is it so hard for internationals when they reached Finland to go from student to employee, and often we have to go through this side jobs like cleaning. For instance, I've been a waitress, or this kind of in between jobs that are not at all fitting our skills. And I think that it's something that we should think about in the future of politics, how to make this transition smoother from student to employee. Um, how this is a bit of a general comment, but personally, how do you feel about your media coverage in Finland?
Well, one thing that uh, gives me purpose is when my story or our stories inspire others not to give up in Finland, because it is not easy to be an international or an immigrant in Finland. You face a lot of challenges. So sometimes the struggles we've gone through or we've been through, we try to share so that it can inspire people. And the lessons learned, sometimes it can be a short way for them to correct their mistakes faster to get to where they want to get to. So, for instance, as I have been saying, it took me many years to get a professional job. Of course, we didn't really have people to advise us or give us good tips to find ways to stand out. Okay, so we were always following the traditional processes. So then we realized that there are other unconventional means you can use that can get you to where you want to go faster than if you really want to follow the traditional process of just finish school and apply for jobs. So uh, ever since I started when I got my professional job, I started giving tips to students, both internationals and locals, telling them this is this way can also help you move faster. So um, through getting media coverage, it has it has my tips has gotten that kind of visibility to some extent that people see it, and they get to perhaps uh, inculcate them in their lives, and some have gotten good results from that. So sometimes I do get messages from LinkedIn and say, oh, I read your story from this newspaper, and the
Mm.
tips uh, so on and so forth has helped me to get this and so on. So it's not just the media coverage I'm looking at, but actually the outcome, right? The outcome of what's the message, uh, the outcome of the message of how, for instance, it affects people. So when you get positive comments from people who have really benefited from maybe some of our struggles, it feels good and it feels purposeful. And what is life without also contributing to the life of others?
Yeah, yeah, I feel that you're part of these people who opened a bit the door to international workers in Finland, because thanks to this media coverage, you became a bit of a model of someone who managed to build a career. And yeah, thanks to your job and all the interviews you gave, you're really sharing a lot of tips to help newcomers get a smoother introduction to Finnish working life. And also for Finns, I think, maybe 3 years since, I will speak on behalf of Finnish people, that I feel that they are often scared of changes. And so the more they hear about, oh, okay, Vautila employed internationals, and more internationals are becoming Finns, learning Finnish. So I should, for instance, we discussed this with the previous candidate, that I should insist on speaking Finnish with internationals and not switch to English. So I feel that the change is slowly starting to take place in Finland, and they are getting used, thanks to this media coverage of the internationality. um, I will then move to our next question. That was one question that we often have with the Radio Turku team, and is, what led you to start a political career in Finland? Because even if you knew the working culture well, uh, how do you step from this to politics?
Yeah, very important question. So thanks for that. Actually, if you look at my career trajectory, as I said earlier, when I got my first professional job, I started spreading the news that these are ways that people can do to, especially internationals, to also break the barrier. So I have become a community builder, helping or maybe trying to contribute as to how we can have a community where everybody can feel belonged, right? So through their jobs, through other means, to feel belonging to Finland or to Vaasa especially. So for the past 5 years, I've been part of panel discussions on how we can make Vaasa inclusive and attractive, and to also get to retain talent, and also speaking on ways we can make our community, right, belonging, especially to those coming from international backgrounds. So all these, and as well as creating employment opportunities or fair employment opportunities for all, so that people, irrespective of their background, can equally stand a chance, right? So this has been something that I've been advocating in many platforms. So then, uh, for the past, let's say the last year onwards, I was thinking that although, like, yes, you may have the voice and you've been speaking on that, sometimes it is very important that you sit at the tables where decisions are made. That can help influence, and that can get your influence and go in the right direction, and we could see changes. So I was thinking, why not? Then it's better that we can start small by influencing at the municipal level, and that can be done by also joining a political party. That will also give you the opportunity to stand for municipal elections, and based on the views and your views, if they align, then you can actually join the party and then do what, and then try to campaign and be part of the municipality and influence in the right direction to meet the goals your intended goals. So I checked the parties and I decided on SDP, since their values are aligned with what I have been doing, creating equitable, equal opportunities for people, and also having the international mindset in terms of how we can find better ways to retain our talent, right? And also looking at the cultural diversity in general, right? So the open-mindedness is something that I'm also looking at, which also create that cultural diversity. And lastly, for, I've been dealing with students a lot, both locals and international. So currently have a crisis here in Vaasa with student housing and so on and so forth. So I was thinking that would have also been something that I can influence. So I spoke to the party and they said, well, the vision that I have or the values that I have is well aligned with theirs. So why not? I can join them and begin campaigning on those values. and then hopefully when I get the opportunity, I can influence those values as well. So that led me to politics, and I believe we can help or contribute on the broader scope when we involve ourselves in where the decisions are made, and the politicians are the one doing the decision. So that's, in simple terms, this is the reason why I joined, to uh, be able to build community in a broader scope.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's really nice to see you so motivated also. And I just want to add this question for people who might never have heard about the SDP, because one issue often with internationals is that, one, we are not aware that we can vote, two, we don't know for who to vote. So that was a bit the goal of our series, to present different parties and to explain what is specific about them. So our question would be, can you name three issues that the SDP aims at tackling with its program to give us a better idea?
Okay, so the SDP Vaasa have their, we have our, what we call um, the municipal program, right? The municipal election program for for this municipal election year, and the three one, well, there are many, but three include, let's say, ensuring quality education and youth support. So basically, it emphasizes on the provision of, like, high quality early childhood education, basic education, as well as secondary education, to give children and young people a strong foundation. So here, it also advocates the integration of sports and culture into the school day, and ensuring every child has access to at least one guided hobby after school, which which also collaborates with other third sector actors. Then the second one is the student housing crisis. Just like I mentioned, that is something that I would also want to influence. So, for the past few years, the universities and university supply sciences have admitted a lot of students. So now we have uh, like more students but less housing. So there's a bit of a crisis. So the party, according to our program, is committed to increasing the availability of reasonable price student housing by working with the city and housing providers to ensure that, I mean, more investment in student friendly living are available. So we also aim to combat aside from the student crisis, promoting the sustainable development as well is something that the party is looking for to champion, which is to combat climate change through climate budgeting and including annual emission monitoring and so on. But of course, the third one also has to do with the enhancing employment and economic vitality. And this has to do with strengthening the employment services, right? And also preventing long-term unemployment and supporting startups by creating that collaboration between businesses and higher education. So this is done basically to ensure there is a diverse economic structure, and which also encourages the student to settle here in Vaasa. So basically, from the the bigger scope of the program, these are the three that I can actually talk about in detail.
Yeah, yeah, and for people who would like to know more about your program, I will put in the description of this video the link to your profile on the SPD. Every time I say SPD, SDP webpage, where you can find all the topics that Lukman described. Uh, is it only available in Finnish, or do you have an English version?
There's an English version. So, well, if you are talking about my personal values or promises, you can get it both in English and Finnish. But the party's entire program for in Vaasa for 2020, for the election, for the municipal election season, is in Finnish. But of course, you can easily translate with Google in English as well,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
highly doable. Yeah.
Okay. And now, if we go from the party in general to you personally. What do you feel are the measures you would take to support inclusion and community in Finland? Because you mentioned already a few ideas about student housing or collaborating with local companies, but you mentioned a lot in your interviews and in your own program the idea of inclusion and community. So, what measures would you like to implement during your I don't know how you say, during the moment when you are elected?
So one way is the enhancing workforce integration. So as I said, advocating for policies that recognize international qualification and skills is very important. I mean, this makes it easier for the internationals to get meaningful employment, because if 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 people have the skills and they cannot use the skills, or they didn't get opportunity to utilize those skills, it creates some kind of inconveniences. So if they are able to use it, then it, it creates an environment where this, the city benefits from their skills, and they also benefit from the from being also contributing meaningfully to the city. Another thing is also strengthening multicultural engagement. Of course, there's a big gap between internationals and locals in terms of how we engage. So, for instance, in my spouse program, I do create programs where I bring the locals and our international spouses together through a program. It could either be a program that includes performing, let's say International Day, where our spouses come to present and perform their cultural dances and so on, whilst
Ah,
finished and
so
other
nice.
stakeholders come to watch. So they get to understand that, okay, this person comes from Yemen, so this is what Yemeni people do. This person comes from Bangladesh, this is how their food is. This is so the inclusion. So I know a lot of international attend Finnish events. It is also good that Finns also attend uh, events by international community, so they get to understand people better. So strengthening multicultural engagement is also one thing that promotes inclusion and the community in essence. And another thing is the language accessibility, because now there is a challenge with, as I said, we have a lot of people coming to Vaasa nowadays, and there's a long queue. And now even the language studies, the intensive one, which was 10 months, has been shortened to 5 months. So it doesn't even uh, uh, help that much, because even people who have 10 months intensive language studies still suffer or struggle, not to talk of just 5 months. So it defeats the purpose of integration. So of course there is a complaint that's, or there's a complaint that's they have fewer staff, but then if there is investment to hire more staff to get the language trainings for I mean people who are willing to learn, then that will be something that is appreciated. But in essence, promoting also bilingualism and ensuring the municipal services are both in Finnish and in Swedish, and also providing information in English for internationals can enhance the inclusion as well, because uh, a lot of internationals can understand English easily. So then certain information cannot escape them. So with this, it makes it easier for them to know what is required, get information on the ground, and can navigate their way through the community. And through understanding things, it makes life easier for all. And when life is easy, people want to belong, and the place becomes a better place for all, in simple terms.
Yeah, that's well said. And I really agree with your idea that Finns need to attend international events. And for instance, this is a recurrent issue that I experience at my workplace. Also, I work for tutoring international program, so it's quite similar maybe in some ways to the spouse program in Vaasa. And one issues that we have recurrently is how to make Finnish people feel welcome and not to scare them, because it it puts a lot of pressure on you to know that you're going to an international event. So I would like to really insist on the fact, if we have finished viewers here, that you are welcome to international events, and that we'll be delighted to share about our native culture with you, because that's also, that feels really nice when locals are interested in our background. So it's always nice to share, especially food, dances, traditions. This is really a nice moment to spend with people.
There's a critical point that I also need to make. You know, part of the inclusion is also training our staff to understand the different behaviors of internationals, right? Why am I saying this? So now more than ever, as I said, in the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of people have come to Vaasa, a lot of internationals, and they come with their kids and their spouses. So someone could come with a kid of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 3 years. When they go to the daycare, you don't expect them to behave the same as children who are born here in Finland. It's not possible. So then you will see there's a mix of or clash of cultures. So if the daycare operators do not get enough training on diverse cultures, it becomes very difficult to handle the class or to even handle those international, uh, kids. So there, there, there is something we should encourage to uh, support the trainings of daycare teachers or even high school or primary and high school teachers, since we have a lot of internationals coming, because with that they can know how to manage this, how they can teach these students, and then also on the behavioral side manage in the interim how they can find ways to let their students settle. If not, then it becomes very difficult. That said, the children also come from a diverse background, and they also need to kind of respect their culture to some extent, right? Whilst they respect your culture as well. So these things are little things, but very bigger, they have bigger impact. They are little, but they have bigger impact. So the advocacy for investing in the trainings of these uh, teachers and other, stuff is very, very important as well.
Yeah, yeah, and to push it even further, I feel that at the university level, even for teachers and even for supervisors of researchers, it's very important to have a training and to understand what, how do I handle an international team, what can I do in case of discriminations, because a lot of time the supervisor notice something, but they just don't know how to handle it, or are they procedures within the university or within the school system to handle this kind of cases, and they are. So it's true that added trainings will be really useful for people in charge of these groups, because sometimes they just feel overwhelmed with the situation. So yeah, thanks for this remark. And our conclusion question for all the candidates is, why should internationals get involved in the municipal elections as voters or as candidate like you? What would you say to people from international background watching this video who are hesitating to go to vote, or uh,
Mm. Well, one thing I've been saying, the best way to create change is to be involved in the changing process or the change making processes. So, the best way to affect change in your municipality is to participate in the electioneering process, and yours in this process is to vote. Just vote, because when you vote, you have also what given your voice. So, in essence, municipal elections shape our local policies that directly impact our lives. So whether it's housing, whether it's employment, whether it's public transport, whether it's in education, you know. So international who live in Finland, you have the right to vote and influence these decisions, right? Just like I have given you my election promises. This is what I want to do. I would need you to vote, meaning you are giving me your voice to take there and tell them this is the voice of my people. This is what we need to do. So if you participate, you ensure that your voice are heard and the policies that is uh, uh, that is crafted reflect the needs of the society or the diverse society. So it's very important that you are involved in the process, whether you are a voter or whether even you are a candidate. So when you're a candidate, to it helps bring new perspective into politics. Just like perhaps my perspective could be more centered towards international, so it brings more perspective to the drawing board or to the table of decisions. So this makes the municipalities more inclusive and forward thinking. So we it is important that we get to understand the impact of involving ourselves in politics, be it voters or be it candidates. So this is what I have for that.
Yeah, thank you. And we need more candidates every time from international background. And in your case, it's perfect because you speak Finnish, so you can really do this transition between two communities. But thank you for joining this interview today. We were really happy to have you at Radio Turku. And for the people watching this or listening to this, go to vote.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm happy to be here and hope our internationals will get this message. Those who are eligible to vote, to go out and vote for their various candidates is very important, and no vote is a waste. So please just vote as much as you can, and encourage your friends to also vote,
Yeah.
so that we can all make the change we are looking for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.